Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Narayanam Namaskrityam Naram Chaiva Narottamam Devim Saraswatim Vyasam Tato Jayam Udiraye Nashtaprayeshu Abhadreshu Nityaṁ bhāgavata-sevayā Bhagavati Uttama-shloke Bhaktir Bhavati Nashtaki Durlabhamanusho Deho Dehinam Shana Bhangure Tatrapi Durlabham Manye Vaikuntha Priya Darshinah. Hare Kṛṣṇa Hare Kṛṣṇa Krishna Krishna Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, dear worshipable devotees, thank you so much for joining on this special day of Vaman Dwadashi and also the appearance day of Srila Jiva Goswami. So, such wonderful is the moment of bhakti where every day is some festival and every day is some surcharge to absorb in to tap into the mercy of the acharyas, to tap into the mercy of the Supreme Lord, who comes time and again in different incarnations, in different forms, to give us the nectar of Krishna consciousness. So let's read Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam, Canto 9, Chapter 15, entitled Parshuram, the Lord's warrior incarnation. So we read till text 29 yesterday, where Parshuram, basically when he got to know that Karthiv Arjuna had taken the Kamadhenu cow, he was very, blood was like boiling. He took his bow, weapon, arrows and everything and came to Mahishmati. So let's see what happens in that city of Mahishmati. Achodhya dhasati rathasva patibhe gadasi banarshti shatagni shaktibhi akshanihi sapta dashati bhishana satarama eko bhagavan asudayat. Translation and purport by His Divine Grace, A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada, Srila Prabhupada ki Jai. Upon seeing Parashuram, Karthiv Arjuna immediately feared him and sent many elephants, chariots, horses, and infantry soldiers, equipped with clubs, swords, arrows, rishtis, shatagnis, shaktis, and many similar weapons to fight against him. Karthiv Arjuna sent 17 full auctionings of soldiers to check Parshuram. But Lord Parshuram alone killed all of them. Shri Parshuram Bhagwan ki Jai. Purport. The word auctionee refers to a military phalanx consisting of 21,870 chariots and elephants, 109,350 infantry soldiers, and 65,610 horses. An exact description is given in the Mahabharata Adi Parva 2nd chapter as follows. Eko ratho gajas chaika naraha pancha padayataha trayascha turagastad janai patir iti abhidhiyate patim tu trigunam etam vidu sena mukham buddha trini sena mukhani eko gulma iti adhidhiyate trayo gulma gano nama vahini tu ganastrayah shrutastisrastu vahinya pratneti vichakshinai chamustu pranatastishras chamvastishrastav ankini anikinam dasha gunam ahur akshuni buddhaha akshuniyastu sankhyata rathanam dvija sattamaha sankhya ganita tatvagya sahasrani eka vimshati shatani upari chashtocha bhuyas tatha cha saptati gajanam tu parimanam tavad evatra niridishet gyeyam shata sahasram tu sahasrani tatha nava naranam adhi panchascha chatani trini cha nagha panchashashti sahasrani tathashvanam shatani cha dashottarani shachahur yathavad abhi sankhya etam akshuni prahur sankhya tattvo vidojanaha. Hare Krishna. One chariot, one elephant, 5 infantry soldiers, and 3 horses are called a pati by those who are learned in the science. The wise who know that a Sena Mukha is 3 times what a pati is. 3 Sena Mukhas are known as 1 Gulma. 3 Gulmas are called a Gana. And 3 Ganas are called a Vahini. 3 Vahinis have been referred to by the learned as Pratana. 3 Pratanas equal 1 Chamu, and 3 Chamus equal 1 Anikini. The wise refer to 10 Anikini as 1 Akshini. Okay. The chariots of an Akshini have been calculated at 21,870 by those who know the science of such calculations. O best of the twice born, and the number of the elephant is the same. The number of the infantry soldiers is 109,350, and the number of horses is 65,610. This is called an Akshini. Hare Krishna. So, okay, so basically, in modern day, there is something called one-man army. That's not Parashuram. It's coming from there only, right? They make movie, one hero killing like thousands of people, right? Parshuram was so, like such a warrior that thousands and thousands of infantry and soldiers and elephants were brought to kind of to stop him. Now we have to remember, just to keep things in context, it's the same personality who captured Ravana like a monkey. Now he was so fearful of Parshuram, we can imagine the thunder, the Kshatriya spirit, the strength of Lord. And it's not that that Lord has to need weapons and stuff. Even as we were reading yesterday, or sorry, today morning, when he comes as a dwarf Brahmana, he has the strength of killing everyone in the world. With one, he doesn't need all these weapons and stuff, but special avatar, special flavor, special Shakti, special, everything is special. So since this calculation is there, I was thinking like we can spend a little time in this, understanding this calculation. Okay, so I'm going to use a whiteboard, which And if you want, you can also follow along. You're able to see this whiteboard thing here? Okay.
Suppose it looks like one auction is 100,000 soldiers. So in Kurukshetra wars, like around 10 auctionees in one side and 7 auctionees. So not more than 2 million people, soldiers. But we hear in the lecture sometimes that billions of people have died in the Kurukshetra war.
Yeah, millions. Yeah, we'll have to, I don't know the exact number of auctionees senas, but it was a lot. I've heard there are thousands, hundreds of thousands, like, so I don't know the exact number, so can't comment much. So let's do here, and we'll go in the order of down, okay? So one auctionee has 10 of what? 10 of anikinis, okay? Or 10 anikinis referred to one auctionees. So 10 anikinis. One anikini has 3 chamus, so we'll multiply. So this many number of chamus in one auctionee. How many chamus has one? The lower unit is pratanas. So 3 pratanas is 1 chamu. So we multiply with 3, we get the number of pratanas or pratanas. Now to get the other lower unit beside that is the vahinis. Okay, so again multiply with 3, get the number of vahinis. Then from vahinis we come to ganas. So again multiplied by 3, we get this number of ganas. 3 gulmas make 1 gana. So the next unit is gulmas. So these many number of gulmas. Sena mukhas, the next unit. 3 sena mukhas make 1 gulma. So these many number of sena mukhas. Then how many? Pati. So from sena mukha we come to pati. So these many number of patis. And then how many? 1 chariot, 1 elephant, 5 infantry soldiers, 3 horses, called Napati. So let's do that calculation. So it's basically 3, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Okay. So 9, 27, 81, 243. 243 times 9 is how much, if I'm doing this right, 243 times 9 is 2187. Multiply that with 10. So this number basically comes out to be 21870. Okay. So that's the number of. So multiply. So these many had these many units of 1 elephant, 1 chariot, 5 infantry soldiers, and 3 horses in 1 pack. So imagine these many packs. So in each pack has 1 elephant and 1 chariot, 5 infantry soldiers, and 3 horses. Okay, so if we have to calculate the number of infantry soldiers, we'll multiply this with 5, and that's how we get the 109,350. If you have to get number of horses, we multiply this with 3, and that's how we get the 65,000. Does that help? Or too complex? Is it clear or too analytical? All good, right? So since the description is there, Prabhupada is giving this whole detailed purport, so we thought it would be nice to understand how we came up with this number. So I think it now makes sense. So the context here is to understand that what was the size of the military force of Karthiv Arjuna. So how many 17 full. So 17 full Akshini Senas. So 109 times 17, right? So approximately 20,000 soldiers. Sorry, my bad. 109 times 17 is basically 2 million. So 2 million soldiers approximately he sent. Is that okay? To stop Parshuram. Let's see the next verse, text number 31. Yes, Vipul Prabhu, you want to read?
Sure, Prabhuji. Prabhuji, I checked in the Kauravas side it was 11 Akshini, and in the Pandavas side it was 7 Akshini soldiers.
Yeah, so that basically now equal to 2 million soldiers, right?
Yes.
So,
Hare Kṛṣṇa devotees, Dhanava Pranam, all glories to Srila Prabhupada. Text 31. Yato yato ashu praharat vara shabdho mano nilo ujja paro chakro sudana tatos tatas chinna bhujaro kandara nipetur urbhyam hato shuto bahana. Translation purport, which is Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. Lord Parshuram, being expert in killing the military strength of the enemy, worked with the speed of the mind and the wind, slicing his enemies with his chopper, Parshu. Wherever he went, the enemies fell, their legs, arms, and shoulders being severed, their chariot drivers killed, and their carriers, the elephants and horses, all annihilated. Purport: in the beginning, when the army of the enemy was full of fighting soldiers, elephants and horses, Lord Parshuram proceeded into their midst at the speed of mind to kill them. When somewhat tired, he slowed down to the speed of wind and continued to kill the enemies vigorously. The speed of mind is greater than the speed of wind. So Lord Parshuram, the name came from the Parshu chopper. So who he's so like powerful that he can move with the speed of mind, and when he's somewhat tired, he can move at the speed of wind. So definitely he can conquer the whole world. So he's a incarnation of the Lord. So he activities matches as the Lord himself. Back to Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna, thank you, Prabhu. A lot of people, especially the males, actually like action movies, right? I used to really watch these like Kung Fu and some, wrestling and fighting and action. All those is basically fake, right? One person, the hero will come and he'll kill like thousands villains. It's all fake. But this, it's not 1,000 people. 2 million people, approximately 1.8 million soldiers have come to stop Parshuram. 1.8 million people. Can we imagine? And one person, Parshuram had how many soldiers with him? Zero. All he had was his Parshu. We see in the story of Lord Ram also, same thing is mentioned, that he was fighting with the speed of wind. In very little time, I forgot the exact time, he killed 14,000 soldiers, 14,000 Rakshasas. So basically fighting. The Lord can fight with the speed of mind. What's the speed of mind? Right now I think of, let's say, Vrindavan, Govardhan. How much time it took? Microseconds. And how far is it, like physically? At least a few thousand miles. Right? So we can't even imagine, but it would be such a good movie if someone can make it. How Lord Parshuram must be fighting, killing thousands and 10,000s and 100,000 and millions of soldiers of this Karthiv Arjuna. So no match, uncomparable. So let's see the next verse, 32. Yes, Ramohan Prabhu, want to read this one?
Yes, Prabhuji, thank you. Dandava Pranam, dear devotees. All glories to Srila Prabhupada. Drista swasayanyam rudhiragha kardame rannajade rama kuthara sayeka vivirna varma dhavaja chapa vigraham nipatitam hayahaya patad rusha. Translation by His Divine Grace A.C. Bhakti Vedanta Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. By manipulating his axe and arrows, Lord Parashurama cut to pieces the shields, flags, bows, and bodies of Karthiv Arjuna's soldiers, who fell on the battlefield, muddying the ground with their blood. Seeing these reverses, Karthiv Arjuna, infuriated, rushed to the battlefield. My understanding on this, Prabhuji, is after Karthiv Arjuna saw what was happening, he himself got infuriated and rushed to the battlefield. Hare Kṛṣṇa.
Hare Krishna. Thank you, Prabhu. So, what a fight, right? Those who like watching fight, we should read the story of Parshuram. Uncomparable. So, fighting with his axe, fighting with arrows, and chopping off everyone's even shield, cutting the shield to pieces. The shield is supposed to protect. But just imagine the strength of the Lord and his force. Like even the shield could not protect, right? So let's see what happens when Karthiv Arjuna entered the war zone. Let's read the next verse. Text 33. Yes, Raghu Prabhu, want to read?
Yes. Hare Krishna devotees. Text 33. Atarjuna panchat sateshu bahubir dhanushu banan yugapat sa sandade ramaya ya ramo strabratam smagranis tani eka dan visubir achina samam. Translation by His Divine Grace, A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada, Jai Srila Prabhupada. Then Karthiv Arjuna, with his 1,000 arms, simultaneously fixed arrows on 500 bows to kill Lord Parshuram. But Lord Parshurama, the best of fighters, released enough arrows with only one bow to cut to pieces immediately all the arrows and bows in the hands of Karthiv Arjuna. So whatever Karthavira Arjuna is trying to do is just totally meaningless in front of the Lord, who can just destroy everything simultaneously. Thank you, Prabhu. Back to you.
Thank you so much, Prabhu. This is so, like, as we are watching this fight happen, right? Just thinking like, oh, think about the 1,000 arms, one hand bow, the arrow released in 500 pairs of those. Think about those. But the Lord, he didn't expand himself into, although he is Anantashesh, he is Mahavishnu, he has unlimited arms. He could have also expanded. But same way killing the Putana, he didn't expand himself to a big size to kill the big monstrous, 18 miles long. The Lord is the supreme even in the lap of his mother. So what to speak of 500, 500,000, 5 million soldiers cannot do anything. What to speak of Karthavira Arjuna with 500 pairs of bow and arrows. With one arrow, he had special powers. They've expanded into 500s of those and cut off all his bow and arrow into pieces. So amazing. Such a beautiful fight as if we're watching this live happen. So let's see what happens after this. Anyone wants to read? Yes, Swati Mataji.
Hare Krishna. I'm just praying. It's 34. Nasvayaste achalam vriti nikritam utkrisya vyavedat abhidavato yudi unjan kuttharena katora menina chichedara ramaha prasabham tme avirviva. Translation by Śrī Caitanya-caritāmṛta. When his arrows were cut to pieces, Karthavira Arjuna uprooted many trees and hills with his own hands and again rushed strongly towards Lord Parashuram to kill him. But Parshuram then used his axe with great force to cut off Karthavira Arjuna's arms, just as one might loop off the roots of a serpent. Thank you, Prabhuji. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Thank you, Mataji. Just think about the Lord has already killed millions of soldiers of Karthavira Arjuna, and now he is chopping off 1,000 arms of Karthavira Arjuna. What great strength, immeasurable. Okay? He is unlimited, omnipotent. He's the cause of all causes, the source of all energies. So what can they be the arms of Karthavira Arjuna or anyone else be in front of the Lord? So 35. Yes, Prabir Prabhu, you want to read these two?
Hare Krishna Prabhu, Hare Krishna devotees, Dandavat Pranam, Jai Shri Prabhupada. It's text 35 and 36. Krito baho shirastasya gire sringam iba aharat hate pitari tat putra ayutam dudrubhur bhayat ognihotrim upavartya sabatsam para viraha samupitya ashraman pitre poriklistam samarpayat. Translation by His Divine Grace, S.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada, Jai Srila Prabhupada. Translation. Thereafter, Parshuram cut off like a mountain peak the head of Karthavira Arjuna, who had already lost his arms. When Karthavij Arjuna's 10,000 sons saw their father killed, they all fled in fear. Then Parshuram, having killed the enemy, released the Kamadhenu, which had undergone great suffering, and brought it back with its calf to his residence, where he gave it to his father, Jamudagni. So here we can see that Karthavij Arjuna was very powerful. He has so many arms and he has so much resources. He has so much soldiers. He has like 10,000 sons. So he has so much power. I mean, materialistically, he has so much opulence. But in front of Lord, he was nothing. Just looks like very insignificant. So, Hare Kṛṣṇa Prabhu, back to you. This said correct.
Hare Krishna. Thank you, Prabhuji. This is amazing. So ultimately, Parshuram killed him. One's arms are lost, still the life person, the jiva is still there. But once the head is gone, the vital part, we have seen people without arms, but we haven't seen people without head, right? We've seen people without legs, without a kidney, or without fingers, without an ear, but I think head is very vital. Although it's interesting that people may have a head but still not have the intelligence to use or not make good use of the head. Head is supposed to basically guide or lead. Anyways, if we don't use our head for the right things, that will be chopped off by the Lord. Very simple. If not in this form as Karthiv, Arjuna, and Parshuram, but the death time, same thing happens, right? I read a very nice hearing for the Bhagavad Gita class. I want to share a very nice line which really struck me. I made a note of this. Yeah. For a devotee, death comes as Krishna, and for a materialist, Krishna comes as death. Let's meditate upon that. For a devotee, death comes as Krishna. It means throughout one's life, one is Krishna conscious, and at the time of death is basically the messengers of the Supreme Lord taking him or her back home, back to God. So death comes as Krishna. But for a materialist who is ignorant, atheistic, just focusing on mind and senses, Krishna will come as death. They don't believe in the Supreme Lord, but the Supreme Lord will, through his agents of Yamraj, Yamadutas, will come as death. Whether we believe it or no, death will come. And that's why we say as certain as death. It's an interesting statement I thought to share. I really like that. Something to meditate upon. Okay, and very nice point I thought to share here is which had undergone great suffering, brought it back with his calf. So the cow didn't really want to go. Energy under the hands of a wicked person will not flourish. Now, energy could be any energy, in the form of money, in the form of power, in the form of beauty, in the form of recognition. Energy in the hands. Was the cow suffering under Jamdagni? No. Was the cow upset under Karthavira Arjuna? Yes, because he had selfish agendas, sense gratification, to exploit the cow, to exploit the energy for selfish purposes. But Jamdagni was using it for Agnihotra, for feeding others with the nice preparations. So using it for selfless activities. It's a very nice lesson here. then the energy will flourish. If Krishna will see my child is using my energy in right things, he'll give more. The classic example today is Vaman Dwadashi. Bali Maharaj used the energy of the Lord by Atma Nivedanam, and he will become the next Indra. He got a place in Sutaloka. And nothing to lose when someone gives to Krishna or his devotees, nothing to lose. Only he'll gain multi-million-fold times more. That's Krishna's promise. Name bhakta panishyati. There is no danger. Niya vikramanashaste pratyavayuna vidyate swalpam piyasya dharmasya trayate meheto bhayat. 37. Anyone wants to read this text? Nandini Mataji, you want to read? Okay.
Prabhu, I'm driving. I'm
Sure,
driving,
sure.
Prabhu. I will be able to read in 5 minutes or 5 or 8 minutes. Yeah.
Sure, Mataji. Swakarma tatkritam Ramaha pitre bhratibhya evacha varna varnayamasa tachrutva jamdagnir abhashata. Translation by Srila Prabhupada. Parshuram described to his father and brothers his activities in killing Karthiv Arjuna. Upon hearing of these deeds, Jamdagni spoke to his son, basically Parshuram, as follows. Let's see what he spoke. Yes, Vipul Prabhu, you want to read?
Yes, Prabhu. Thousand devotees on Pranam, text 38. Ramo Ramo Mahabaho Bhavan Papam Akarshashit Abudhin Naredhabam Yat Sarvo Devam Yam Britha. Translation by His Divine Grace is Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada Shri Prabhupada Vijay. O great hero, my dear son Parshuram, you have unnecessarily killed the king, who is supposed to be the embodiment of all demigods. Thus you have committed a sin. Back to Guruji. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Well, king is a representative of God, embodiment of demigods. So, quite straightforward. We have made a sin by killing the king. So let's see what happens. Yes. Raman Prabhu, want to read?
Yes, Prabhuji. Vayam hi brahmanas tata samayarthanatam gatha yaya loka gurur deva paramashtyam agat padam. Translation by His Divine Grace, Śrī Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada, Śrīla Prabhupada Ki Jai. My dear son, we are all Brahmanas and have become worshipable for the people in general because of our quality of forgiveness. It is because of this quality that Lord Brahma, the supreme spiritual master of this universe, has achieved his post. Back to you, Prabhuji. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. So the quality of forgiveness is mentioned here. Shama. Very, very important quality. Radharani is one of the names is Shameshwari, Shama, the queen of forgiveness. If we don't forgive others, or apparently we feel that others have done wrong to me. Okay, this is not situation. There are multiple quotes around this. One of the famous one is, no one actually hurts us. They just deliver us our own karma. Sometimes it could be in the form of a husband. Sometimes it could be in the form of wives, children, parents, friends, neighbors. We're all just delivering our own karma to us. So Prabhupada says, don't blame the instrument of our own karma. Right? If we did something bad, and the postman delivers us a good news or the bad news, the postman is not giving that news. Postman is just giving us what is meant for us. Or nowadays, USPS or UPS, whatever. Nowadays, there are no postmen. So if we can't forgive others for apparently what wrong others may have done to us, how do we expect God to forgive us for our wrongdoings? Right? When I blame others, I'm pointing three fingers to my own self. Right? Only people Prabhu shared a nice class, so we should not blame others. That leads to spiritual weakness. Rather, we should try to see good in others. That will lead to spiritual growth or strength. Unless we are in the position of a parent or a guru, they have the right to correct the child or the disciple. But otherwise, we should be very kind, loving, forgiving. Even if others make mistake, that's fine. They are tolerating us, right? No one is perfect in this world. To err is human. We are human beings. So mistakes will happen, whether it's in a family relationship, husband, wife, children, mother, father, etc., etc. In a family, mistakes happen. We should try that mistakes don't happen knowingly. To make knowingly mistake is very bad. Actually, it's basically kapat, right? That to knowingly harm others or to knowingly plot something evil, that's much more sinful. If it happens unknowingly or because of past conditioning, unwantedly or unknowingly, that's called an accident. Like accidents do happen on the roads. No, do anyone want them? No. Do anyone likes to be in those situations? No. So they're unwanted and they're unknowingly, right? Sometimes there are some miscreants who will wantingly do such things, but most of these are unwanted. So those are considered accidents. And Krishna says in Bhagavad Gita also, can anyone tell which verse that one should consider saintly, even if mistake happen? It's in chapter 9. It's a small hint. Lord says we should consider him sadhu. Remembers? 9.31, I believe. Shukram bhavati dharmatma shashvat shantim nigacchati Konteya pratijanihi name bhakta pranashyati. No, this is actually not the one I was looking for. What's that? Sadhureva samantavya samyak vyavastito hisa. What's that verse?
Opichet shuduracharo bhajate mam ananyavak sadhureva samantavya samyak vyavastito.
Yes, it's 9.30. Sorry, I was one off. Yes, 9.30. Thank you, Prabir Prabhu. Api cheta suduracharos bhajate mam ananyavak sadhureva samantavya samyak vyavastito hisa. Someone asked me, what is my favorite verse in Bhagavad Gita? I said this one gives a lot of hope. Let's read the translation. Even if one commits the most abominable action, if he's engaged in devotional service, he's considered saintly because he is properly situated in this determination. So, things may happen, and His Holiness Bhakti Samit Maharaj was adding to this. That does not mean the mistakes or the abominable acts are voluntary and planned. They are involuntary and unplanned, basically accidents. Right? So even if those happen, when Krishna says, I considered him a sadhu, sadhu reva samantavya, the Lord is willing to forgive them. Who are we to say that? No. The Lord has endless compassion. Parama karuna pahudvijana nitai gaujana. They have endless compassion. There is hope for Jagai Madar. Was there any sin they had not committed? No, all the sins did. So we should be forgiving. That does not mean that we allow torture or abuse. Those situations should be discussed depending upon who, where, what, time, place, situations. So to protect the community, to protect the family, sometimes action is required. But even if the action is required, we should not keep hatred in our heart. His Grace Mahatma Prabhu, small write-up on forgiveness. Forgiveness does not mean that a right, forgiveness does not make a right wrong. In Hindi, it sounds like a little better. कि जो गलत है वो गलत ही है. If someone did wrong, if someone, let's say, come to this temple and is doing something which is apparently wrong, grossly wrong. For example, shouting at the devotees, right? Or smoking inside the temple, something like that. It's grossly wrong. We're not saying it's right. So forgiveness does not mean that the right make a right a wrong. Okay, forgiveness does not mean that you are condoning justice. Forgiveness does not mean a wrong act was not committed, or that one must deny your feelings. It's not that we're saying forget about your feeling, just forget it. No, we're not denying the feelings either. If one is hurt, let's say if someone is hurt because of emotional abuse or physical abuse or any form of abuse, that's wrong, right? So we're not denying the feelings either. Forgiveness is often illogical. Okay. Next paragraph. It's often illogical. It does not make sense. Why should we forgive? He has done wrong. He has done wrong to me. It is often unnatural because you're confronted with forgiving and unforgivable. Someone could have done an unforgivable act also. Yet anger, blame, and revenge. So very important. Anger, blame, and revenge will only make the pain worse. Being vengeful, being angry, keeping the hatred in our heart, etc. It will make the pain worse. It will not help to deal with the situation. Rather, it will worsen the situation. Forgiveness is the only medicine to relieve your pain. His Holiness Radhanath Maharaj gives a classic story of Sindhutai Satkal. Very, very exemplary. She was tortured a lot. It's a very nice movie also on this, and very nice class by His Holiness Radhanath Maharaj. These are all real stories. This is not a real story which happened in Maharashtra. I don't know the exact time, but at least around 50 to 70 years back, approximately, if I have to say a rough estimate. I won't go into all the details, but just think about in a village setting, lot of torture, physical torture, sexual torture, emotional torture, every sort of torture was done upon her, but she still forgave the person who tortured her, and that was her own husband, and did so much good to the society by opening schools and the child for homeless children, Anath ashram, kind of, I don't know what it's called, homeless children shelter,
Orphanage.
orphanage, yeah, orphanage, yes. So she opened that, gave good education to the people, to the kids who came, and at the very last age, her husband was husband was at least 15 years elder. In earlier times, that was the dynamics. Girls were married at like 12, 13 years. The husband was in like his late 20s. So husband was at least 20, 10, 15 years elder. So he was old, and then he came as a child that he was practically homeless, and because of the destiny tables turn. So, but she accepted her and gave her shelter at the orphanage. And she said to the kids, he's the most naughtiest of the child. So she said, you can come, not as my husband, but as a child. So you forgive the doer. Classic example of forgiveness. You forgive the doer, not the doing. Hate the sin, not the sinner. Forgive the doer, not the doing. Hate the sin, not the sinner. Forgiveness does not necessarily require that you reconcile a relationship, right? Sometimes it's okay. The pain could be so much that sometimes it's fine to just stay away, but not have hatred in the heart. That's the point. In addition, forgiveness does not prevent you from taking action against the person who hurt you. So sometimes action is also required. For example, if someone comes to the temple and does something wrong to the a devotee children, action is required, certainly required, because that person may harm tomorrow someone else, right? But still the hatred in the wind, we're praying for them that may this person overcome the shortcomings or the difficulty they are going through. It's necessary for your and other person's safety, the action, or necessary for the rehabilitation of the offender with the best interest in the heart. Forgiveness simply means that you have removed the anger, resentment that resides in your heart. Once you do this, all action or non-action towards the offender will not be motivated by resentment or revenge, but rather positive feelings. So very nice small write-up I thought to share power of forgiveness. So any other thoughts or comments here? Anyone has? Nandini Mataji wanted to say something?
I can read the next one, Prabhu, whenever I'm ready.
Certainly, please. I think let's do that. Yes, please, Mataji.
Is it text 39 or 40? Sorry, I was driving.
40.
Yes, Prabhu. Dandavat pranam devotees. Shamaya rochate lakshmi brahmi sauri yatha prabha shaminamashu bhagwan so tushyate harir ishwaraha. Translation and purport by His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada, Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. The duty of a Brahmana is to culture the quality of forgiveness, which is illuminating like the sun. The Supreme Personality of Godhead, Hari, is pleased with those who are forgiving. Different personalities become beautiful by possessing different qualities. Chanakya Pandit says that the cuckoo bird, although very black, is beautiful because of its sweet voice. A woman becomes beautiful by her chastity and faithfulness to her husband. And an ugly person becomes beautiful when he becomes a learned scholar. In the same way, Brahmanas, Kshatriyas, Vaishyas, and Shudras become beautiful by their qualities. Brahmanas are beautiful when they are forgiving, Kshatriyas when they are heroic and never retreat from fighting, Vaishyas when they enrich cultural activities and protect cows, and Shudras when they are faithful in the discharge of duties pleasing to their masters. Thus, everyone becomes beautiful by his special qualities. And the special quality of the Brahmana, as described here, is forgiveness. It's almost like it's like a alankar. It's like you are decorating yourself with spiritual jewelry. These are our ornaments. A Brahmana's ornament is forgiveness, tendency of Shama, as we were discussing. And very nicely stated that Shudra, when they're faithful, then it's very they're beautiful. When Vaishyas are beautiful when they enrich cultural activities and protect cows. And this whole pastime is about protecting Kamadhenu, as Prabhupada elaborated in one of the purpose we read yesterday. Very deeply he elaborated on that. And ugly person becomes beautiful when he becomes a learned scholar. So we all have hope. We are studying Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam every day, and other such qualities are given. With that, I'll give it back to you, Prabhu. Please add. Hare Krishna. Dandavats.
Thank you so much, Mataji. Again, forgiveness is glorified. As Mataji said, it is the sadhu bhushanam, titikshva, karunika, tolerance. So tolerance and forgiveness is also kind of, all these qualities go together, right? Now that one is very, very forgiving, but not tolerant. So tolerance basically is implied that forgiveness means tolerance. Tolerance means forgiveness. If one is tolerant, one will forgive. Okay. One will, if an action happens, for example, someone said something to me which I didn't like. Now I can think that in a positive way, maybe he didn't really mean that. He was just, something. And I can think a lot about it and just keep thinking about, like, for next 10 hours, that, oh, he must be plotting this, and keep contemplating, So that means, what's the question of tolerance here? Love means to forgive endlessly. Another beautiful quote about forgiveness. Love means to forgive endlessly. How forgiving are the parents towards the children? The children make mistakes. It's okay. One day you'll learn. Right? I'm sure we all have gone through those days. Our parents are so tolerant. We make mistakes. We ask silly questions. Let's read the last verse of this chapter, and then this chapter ends. So we'll then pause after this. Yes, Lakshay, Prabhu, you want to read? Or Babu, Prabhu?
Rachnam Murdabad Hisitasya Vado Brahma Vadhad Guru Tirta Samseva Kamo Jaya Agat Kyuta Chaitanya. Translation and purpose. My dear son, killing a king who is an emperor is more severely sinful than killing a Brahmana. But now, if you become Krishna conscious and worship the holy places, you can atone from this great sin. One who fully surrenders to the Supreme Personality of Godhead is freed from all sins. Aham tam sarvasya salva papebhyo moksha yisyami. From the very day or moment he fully surrenders to Śrī Krishna, even the most sinful person is free. Nonetheless, as an example, Jamadagni advised his son Parashuram to worship the holy places. Because an ordinary person cannot immediately surrender to the Supreme Personality of Godhead, he is advised to go from one holy place to another to find saintly persons that does gradually be released from sinful reactions. Hare Krishna, Prabhuji.
Thank you so much, Lakshay Prabhu. So, quite straightforward here. Jamadagni, the father of Parshuram, told him that you have to atone for your sins by taking shelter of the sadhus. You have done an act of killing the king. You have to be forgiving. So Prabhupada gives a very nice purport that one who fully surrenders to the Supreme Lord is freed from all sin. So Krishna consciousness is the best atonement. Yes, we may have committed a lot of sinful activities in this life and in the previous lifetimes, millions of lifetimes. But what's the atonement? To take shelter of Krishna's lotus feet. Sarva papebhyo. Sarva means sarva. Sarva means all. All means in this life or in the past life. What's that verse? Remembers? Diksha kale bhakta kare atma samarpan. Diksha kale bhakta. Let's see. Yeah, Diksha kale bhakta kare atma samarpana sei kale Krishna tare kare atma sam. At the time of initiation, when a devotee fully surrenders unto the service of the Lord, by taking shelter of Krishna, accepts him to be as good as himself. Sei kale, at that time, Krishna tare kare atma sam. As himself, basically, a purified spiritual entity. So this comes in the Caitanya-caritāmṛta. And the Guru actually takes the reactions of all the past sinful activities. So much big responsibility actually of a spiritual master. So one should take it seriously and not engage in more sins. It's not like Jesus Christ used to say, go to church and what they do? Confess. There's a confession chamber. Oh, I did wrong. Oh, my Lord. Oh, Jesus. Oh, forgive me. I did this. So Friday confession and then fresh set of sins next week. In the India also, a lot of people take bath in the Ganges. They come out of Ganges and they smoke bidi, pan, cigarette, chai, coffee. What's the use of? So that's why Mother Ganga was concerned. People will come, give their sins, and they'll go out, do more sins, and come back again. Remember, we read that recently. So this basically ends the chapter. We'll do a quick summary maybe next time and take some reflections also next time. That's on Monday. So we'll pause here a little over time, but tomorrow is Rath Yatra, so please encourage everyone to join tomorrow morning. So it's a wonderful opportunity to chant, dance, share books, share prasadam, meet new people, share the joy of Krishna consciousness, and celebrate bhakti and take darshan of Lord, offer bhoga, honor prasad, so joyful. Pull the rope, pull the rath, and be happy. So we'll pause here. Canto Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam ki jai, Shri Parashuram Bhagwan ki jai, Shri Vamandev ki jai, Samveta Gaur Bhaktavind ki jai, Nityaṁ Gaur Prem, Hari Hari Bol. Vanchakalpatarubhyascha kripasindubhya vacha patitranam pavanebhyo vaishnavibhyo namo namah. Hari Bol. Hare Krishna. Thank you.